Welcome to Strength and Fitness with Matt DeMarco of CrossFit Manitowoc, here on the Lakeshore's good neighbor, WOMT.
Welcome back to Strength and Fitness here Saturday mornings on WMT with Matt from CrossFit Manitowoc. Matt, good morning.
Good morning, Terry.
Did you hear about the new restaurant that was just opened up on the moon?
I did not hear about.
Yeah, it is great food, no atmosphere. If only listeners could just see the reaction.
I have to move my whole face away from the microphone because I will either spit or snort into it. So
that's good, man.
Thank you for starting.
Now, tie that into today's conversation.
Oh boy,
I don't even know what it is.
I don't even have a bridge to that one.
Ooh.
Well, it's definitely a painstaking process getting to the moon, right?
Okay.
So speaking of being in pain, this is the worst segue ever.
Probably.
Have you ever hurt yourself?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Moon,
Come on.
No atmosphere. Beat in pain. There we go.
Being in pain.
I mean, if we had a little bit more time, we could have figured out a better segue. But yes, I have hurt myself every now and then, and doing some yard work at times. Pull.
Well, we were talking about that earlier. Yeah. So yard work, and you were sore after your yard work, and so that brings me the topic that I wanted to get to today after the moon landing was soft tissue injuries and how soft tissue injuries occur, how your body adapts to them, and then what's the proper paradigm for going about healing from those soft tissue injuries. It's a very important concept because I deal with a lot of people who they just have a line in the sand that is like, my shoulder is X and therefore I cannot do Y and Z motions, right? Period, stop, end of sentence. There is we don't even go
discussion.
Past it. Right. And what I want to pitch to the public here is that there is a path forward from that point where you think, oh, I have a bad knee, or I have a bad back, or I have a bad ankle, or I have plantar fasciitis, or I have a frozen shoulder. These are all things that are soft tissue based. If it's not a broken bone, if it's not a dislocated joint, then there's always something that we can do with that tissue to make it stronger and restore it to its optimal and proper function.
What if it hurts though when you work out?
That is exactly where we start. We start with pain and what causes pain. And in the case of all soft tissue injuries, and that's a broad statement, when something hurts, it is because the load exceeded the capacity of the tissue, right? So if my knee, the tendon in my patella that connects the patella to my tibia, if that hurts, it is because I have done something chronically or acutely to that tissue that exceeded the capacity of the tissue to either in the moment, which is like an acute thing, which is like I stepped and twisted my ankle or I bashed my knee into something, or chronically, which like I've been running too much, I've been jumping too much, I've played too much basketball, and chronically it hurts, or chronically it is inflamed. Right. So the first thing we do, if it hurts when we work out, is we have to reduce the load, right, to decrease the pain symptoms down to a manageable level. When we say like on a pain scale of 1 to 10, we're willing to accept up to about a 3.5 during a workout, right, which is like an acceptable amount of pain that where you can feel some discomfort, but it is not like a stabbing, tearing, ripping type of pain, right? And that is that your tissue responds to load the same way our muscles and bones do, being that if we expose them to a repetitive load, they will over time get stronger and thicker and tougher, right? If we expose them to zero load, you know what happens to that? It's the same thing as a muscle that doesn't get exercised, right? It gets weak, it gets tight, right? It refuses to adapt to anything because there's nothing to adapt to, because everything in your body is a stimulus adaptation style response, right? So go back to my knee. I have to go away from doing like heavy squats, long runs, explosive jumps, and I have to go down to slower, more controlled movements. I'm not negating the range of motion. I'm just taking away the load until the pain goes away. And then slowly over time, we build up that load. We build back up to the range of motion load and intensity that you can sustain. So the point being is that your tissue will not get stronger unless you load it, but the load that you want to do is probably higher than the load that it should be experiencing on a day-to-day basis.
Matt, great information each and every week here on this show. We could keep talking for
that's a topic that's hours long,
but time is running up here. How do listeners connect with CrossFit Manitowoc?
check us out on the web at CrossFitManitowoc.com or shoot me an email at matt@CrossFitManitowoc.com.
You've been listening to Strength and Fitness with Matt DeMarco of CrossFit Manitowoc. Tune in again next Saturday morning for an all-new episode or download the podcast today at WOMTradio.com. If you're interested in losing weight, feeling great, and improving your quality of life, check out a free introductory session at CrossFit Manitowoc. Fitness for any level, personalized to your goals and needs. Visit CrossFitManitowoc.com to get started. You're listening to WOMT Radio, a Sea Haver Broadcasting station.